Welcome to Bookmas Day 1. For the month of December, I'm going to try post more videos. This is the first of currently 4, but we will see how well I manage to stick to my plan. I've done this video 2 years in a row. This is our 3rd year looking at my TBR for the next year. So I have picked 20 books that I'm going to put on my 2026 TBR. Basically, the idea is if I don't get to those books in 2026, they're being given away, unhauled, donated, something. This is my effort to read the books I own before buying more, but there are actually 1 or 2 new releases that I put on this list. They're good ones. For a bit of background before I jump into this list, last Christmas, my fiance actually subscribed to a book box for me as part of my gift. What that means is every month this year, I received a really pretty hardback edition of a new release. It was an Illumicrate subscription, so I have a whole stack of beautiful hardback books, but I didn't read them. And I was thinking like maybe reading 1 a month next year. And I've also told him to cancel the subscription because 12 books is enough. I have 11 here. I assume 1 more is gonna come. We'll see if I read that. 11 of these books are on my TBR. So let's jump into them. First is Hamajang Look by Makana Yamamoto. I believe this is a sci-fi book. So let me give you a quick description. Edie is done with crime. 8 years behind bars changes a person, and it's all Angel's fault. She sold Edie out in what should have been the greatest moment of their lives, but then a chance for early parole appears out of nowhere, and Edie steps into the pallid sunlight to find none other than Angel waiting, and she has an offer. One last job, one last deal, one last target. There's just one thing Edie needs to do: trust Angel again. It says it's like Ocean's 8 meets Blade Runner. It is actually a debut novel. So first, just look at this gorgeous Illumicrate copy. That is so cool. It seems like a heist book, really. I am excited from the idea of the heist. However, and I mean this lovingly, I'm not a sci-fi fan at all. I don't like sci-fi media in any form. Like Star Wars, boring as hell to me. Anything star related, anything set in space, no interest at all. Space in general, very little interest. I know, whoa, bad woman in STEM, but I don't have much interest myself in it. But isn't that kind of what Illumicrate is about, like stepping out of your comfort zone? That's the first book on our list. Next, we have Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambao. This is a fantasy. All of these books are fantasy, sci-fi, YA. I don't think there's any just romance. I'm going to be reading a lot of fantasy next year, basically. So Water Moon. On a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everyone can find it. Most will see only a cozy ramen restaurant, and just the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. Really, the vibe here is magical realism meets like time travel. And so our main character, Hannah, her father is missing, and a charming stranger comes and helps her. That's kind of what the story is about, them trying to find her father. Here is our gorgeous dust jacket free cover. All of these Illumicrate editions are absolutely stunning. I really look forward to this. I love the setting of Tokyo, but also it seems like there's different worlds or something. Like, again, I know next to nothing about this. I just got it and went, wow, pretty. I am just really hyped to read this one. And I have seen a few positive reviews about this, which is very promising. A lot of the books that came in the Illumicrate subscription I hadn't really heard of before they came. I'm pretty sure all of these are brand new releases, and a lot of them are actually debuts. I'm really excited to discover new authors, especially new fantasy authors. So that's something that's been really hyping me up. I'll try to point out which other ones are debuts. Because they're so new and potentially debut novels, I don't hear a lot about them before I got them. That's strangely promising to me because I feel like my opinions will be unmarred by anyone else, and I won't be able to be influenced by TikTok reviews and YouTube deep dives, whatever. Next, we have Capitana by Cassandra James. This is also a fantasy, and I believe it is YA. First off, Cassandra James, I always have great luck with a Cassandra writing a YA novel. Also, pirates. Hello. Justice will be served to pirates and their sympathizers. Jimena Real has spent her life training to become one of the black-cloaked cazadores, seafaring hunters who captured the pirates pillaging the Luzon Empire. But although Jimena is the top candidate at La Academia, that will not be enough for a daughter of the notorious Reals, pirate captains who were executed for their crimes. This seems very kind of quest-oriented, kind of like sailing the high seas. The quote on the back says, "Vengeance belongs to those who wait." Here, it's a map. And inside we have the characters, It seems like it's a pirate book, we know that, but it seems like the characters competing in some way. That's all I can really tell, but I've never read like a mainly pirate book. Excited for that, because again, it's something new. Next, we have The Prince Without Sorrow by My Three Wijiskara. This, again, is some kind of fantasy. It says, you have to learn to be cruel before you can learn to be great. A prince born into violence. Prince Ashoka is considered an outcast for opposing his father, Adil Maurya's brutal destruction of the Mayakari witches. A witch seeking revenge. Shakti vows retribution for the murder of her aunt and the annihilation of her village at the hands of the emperor, even though she is bound by the Mayakari's pacifist code. This is the first book in a trilogy, and it is the author's first book. So I love this, discovering someone new. And here's the very cool cover. And it says here, drawing on inspiration from the Mauryan Empire of ancient India. There's learning to be done in this, which I adore. Gorgeous. Sides. Here. A witch novel, basically. I look forward to that. Next, we have The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. This is a really highly anticipated one because I have heard incredible things about this book. People are raving about it online. It is a fantasy book, and it is also a big fantasy book. We're at 646 at the very back. After 24 years on the throne, it is time for Bursun the Brusque, Emperor of Oran, to bring his reign to an end. In the dizzying heat of midsummer, 7 contenders will compete to replace him. Trained at rival monasteries, each contender is inspired by a secret animal: fox, raven, tiger, ox, bear, monkey, and hound. An 8th, the dragon proxy, will be revealed once the trials have begun. 8 exceptional warriors, thinkers, strategists, the best of the best. Then one of them is murdered. I assume we're following the raven. Don't know very much. On the back here it says, win the throne, destroy an empire. Either way, it begins with murder. So that's so intriguing. I love a trial book, and this book has come so highly recommended online. So this is a pretty exciting one. So here we have cover. Lovely. I believe the author is already working on the sequel, so that's bound to be a great series. Next, we have A Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Allende. A song of rebellion, a song of war, a song of legends lost. Okay, I like that. In the Kingdom of the Nine Lands, so you already know it's fantasy, only warriors of noble blood can summon their ancestors to fight with them in battle. But when Temi, a commoner from the slums, accidentally invokes a powerful spirit, she finds it could hold the key to ending this centuries-long war. Actually, the imagery inside this book is kind of spooky, so let me show you. First off, I don't know how well that's gonna come off on camera, but look at it. Oh my goodness. Wow. Can you see that? But yeah, in here, my goodness. Here, beautiful. I love. That seems like a really interesting concept. Again, I don't think I've read anything like this before, and I don't think I've heard of this outside of obviously owning it. So that's pretty exciting. Next, we have Treachery of Swans by A.B. Poranek. Magic has long been outlawed. Odile has always known she'd be the one to restore it. Raised by a sorcerer, Odile has spent years preparing for the heist of a lifetime. Okay, we have another heist book. It's perfectly simple. Impersonate a princess, infiltrate the palace, steal the enchanted crown, and restore magic to the kingdom. There's a playlist in the back here. One of the songs is Better Than Revenge, Taylor's version. So I love that. I love the look of this. This is looking like one of my faves so far. Oh my gosh. I love a kingdom. You know? Got princesses and heists. Okay, hello. Next, we have The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Brigitte Knightley. This is clearly enemies to lovers, and I also believe this used to be fan fiction, which I'm usually a fan of. I look forward to this. It's a slow burn enemies to lovers romantasy featuring a scholarly healer and a gentleman assassin set in an exquisite fantasy world. Osric Mordaunt, member of the Viren Order of Assassins, is in dire need of healing. Naturally, such is the grim comedy of fate, the only healer who can help is Oriane Berhim, preeminent scientist, bastion of moral good, and member of an enemy order. So the thing about this is, I believe it was Harry Potter fanfiction first, which there's nothing wrong with a bit of fanfiction, but I've not heard fantastic things about this, the published version. I'll still give it a fair go. It's a pretty book too, so I'll show you. I really like how they did the cover. So the dust jacket was actually transparent, and then you can see this. So they did that really well. And then obviously we have our, it's Hermione and Draco characters, so good for them. I also never quite liked that pairing in fanfiction. I didn't tend to really read Draco Hermione stuff. I'll give it a fair go. Next, we have The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. This, I've actually heard really good reviews on. Like, guys, stop what you're doing and read this book kind of reviews. Love, loyalty, sacrifice. Grey Flynn has dedicated her life to her mage, Kier. She will be his blade on the battlefield, his healer and protector. The deep well of raw power inside her is Kier's to use. Grey would do anything for Kier, be anything for him, if he would only ask. When a quest to protect the child of an enemy kingdom pulls them into the dangerous heart of their nation's war, Grey and Kier will need to decide what they are willing to sacrifice to protect their secret. So there's a secret. And back says, evaporated or submerged, it didn't matter. Locke vanished that day and no trace of it had been seen since. No bodies, no debris, no survivors. Just a black span of sea in the Bay of Locke, with nothing remaining of the Obsidian Isle and its 1,000-year legacy of power. That's really cool. We have here, I love, of course I do. Hello? Like, are you seeing this? Then the artwork inside. Yeah, I've heard such fantastic things about this book. Very hyped to read this. We have 2 more Illumicrates, so let's see. The next one, we have Voidwalker by S.A. McLean. This looks more sci-fi-y. The idea of Voidwalker, is there time travel? Is that the vibe I'm getting? Fiona Mara is a smuggler. Antal is the reason her people fear the dark. Fee ferries stolen magic between worlds, stockpiling funds to keep her village free from the blood sacrifices humans have paid to Antal's immortal species for centuries. Oh, is it a human X creature thing? Only legends whispered through the pine forest recall a time when things were different, before one world shattered into many and the flesh-devouring beasts crept from the cracks between realities, with their sable antlers and slender tails, lethal claws and gleaming fans. And their mortal lives become food to pacify their carnivorous overlords in exchange for the precious silver energy that fuels everything from transport to weaponry. He is hired to smuggle stuff. But we have creatures in this, and on the back it says, appease the beasts and keep them fed, but never invite them into your bed. So I think we can kind of guess where this one is gonna go. And there's an example of a beast. My goodness. There, see? So maybe it's more romantic-y. The void walking, I suppose, the Between Worlds is reminding me of the V. Schwab A Darker Shade of Magic series. That's where the similarities end. I'd be interested to read that. The final Illumicrate is The Isle in the Silver Sea by Tasha Surrey. In an England fueled by stories, the knight and the witch are fated to fall in love and doom each other over and over. the same tale retold throughout hundreds of lifetimes. Simran is a witch of the woods. Veena is a knight of the queen's court. When the two women begin to fall for each other, how can they surrender to their desires when give in is to destroy each other? Find each other in every lifetime. And so there's actually, the artwork is of many different like iterations of the same people, I think, because I remember looking at it and being a bit confused by like all of these characters. No, it's the same person, just in different forms. And I wonder, will they be able to break this curse? So I think that is such a unique, interesting idea. It really takes star-crossed lovers to a whole other level. That was 11 books. Let's jump into the 12th book. Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home by Jessa Hastings. I read the first Magnolia Parks 2 years ago, I think, and then I read Daisy Hates, the first Daisy Hates, this year, and so now I just want to read the next one. And I have also Into the Dark. I don't have the second Daisy Hates, but I'm in the middle of this series, and I also bought these books. I think it was 2024. I bought a bunch of them together because Jessa Hastings was doing a signing, and I wanted her to sign multiple. That's why I have more than one just sitting there. I need to get to reading them. So that's number 12. Number 13 is If We Were Villains by ML Rio. I am super excited to read this book. I really want to read it. However, I really want to read, I think, Macbeth, because this book is all about actors and they're cast in multiple plays throughout the book. There's stuff going on, it's pretentious, but also there's stuff like people becoming their characters, and I just really want the significance of what characters are cast as who to sink in. So that's the only reason I haven't read this yet. Hopefully I get to Macbeth soon so I can read If We Were Villains pretty early in the year. We'll see. Next, I want to read Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. I got this book last year for Christmas, and it actually has a Stephanie Garber quote, "dazzling," on the front. I really like the look of this. First off, I think the cover is beautiful, and second off, the idea is really fun. I like to read more about other mythologies rather than just Irish and Celtic mythologies that a lot of like fairy books are based on. A nice change of pace. I also think it's fairly highly rated on Goodreads, and it is a series. I always love a series. Speaking of which, the next book I'd like to read next year is The Toll by Neil Shusterman. This is the final book in the Scythe series. Oh my goodness, I read the Scythe series, the first 2 books in the Scythe series, so long ago. And this has sat on my shelf for so long because of that. It's YA and it's dystopian, but it's so good. I love the universe. Found the characters really interesting, but also, if you'd believe it, the last Scythe book ended on a pretty big reveal. I won't call it a cliffhanger, but I'll say a reveal. I don't know what has made me not read it. I've had this sat there for so long and I just haven't felt the urge to read it. So next year is my year. Instead of just starting 10 new series, I'll actually finish one. Next, I would like to read With Love from Cold World by Alicia Thompson. I had this on my TBR for, I think, 2024, 2023 maybe? One of them. It was a while ago. This year has to be it. It has to be it. I gotta read this, hopefully in January. That is my current headspace. I'm gonna read this in January. Cold World. It's a Christmassy book, and so I'll read it in the new year. I've had it too long. I've had this so long and not touched it. I feel like there's never been a good moment. 2026 is my year. Next, I would like to read The Will of the Many by James Islington. This is a fantasy book. It's the first book in this series. The second book is coming out next year, I believe. This is so hyped up online. People adore this book. I literally just finished watching someone review it. Spoiler free, of course, so I don't know much about it. I just know there's like a hierarchy. There's kind of like a Roman thing going on. The chapters are in Roman numerals, and people love this. I believe it has like a 4.6 rating on Goodreads. That could be different at the time of filming versus editing, but it's a very high average rating, especially for the first book in a series. So this is going to be a super exciting one to read, and I really look forward to this. If I could probably read any of these now, this would be like a top contender. Next, we have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This is a romance book. We finally have a romance book on this thing. I have Cold World book, but other than that, they look like they're all fantasy. fantasy. I love fantasy, but I love a bit of romance too. The premise of this really charmed me. It seems like a Valentine's Day, February kind of read. So maybe that's when I'll read it. Cause like, look at it, it's so pretty. I don't know if it's the second book or if it's a interconnected standalone situation, but another one is coming out. Maybe I'll read them back to back. And it's also just super cute. This is one of the cartoon covers that I think is still cute. Some of the romance cartoon covers have started to get annoying to me, but that one is cute. That brings me to my last two books, and these are two books that are not out yet, and they're kind of like my free slots. So the first one I will be reading is The Last King of Fairy by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in a new Shadowhunters trilogy. It is also the final Shadowhunters trilogy. Don't ask me how I'm feeling about that, but I'm super excited. Oh my god. Kit and Ty and Drew are our main characters. And again, if you're not a Shadowhunter fan or if you've not read much of the Shadowhunter universe, you don't know who they are. I love them. I love them. Kit is one of my favorite characters in this like younger generation of Shadowhunters post like the Mortal Instruments gang. I cannot believe this book is coming out. We're not sure on a date yet, but knowing Cassandra Clare, she will announce it between me making this video and posting it, but we'll never know. If I know when I'm editing this, I'll stick it on screen. But it's out in spring, so that'll be a drop everything and read Cassandra Clare book. That's super exciting. I'm really pumped for that. The final book I would like to read is called Love by the Book by Jessica George. I'm gonna be really honest. I was scrolling through a list of books you should be excited about coming out next year because I actually couldn't think of many that I was looking forward to. Ali Hazelwood has not announced anything for next year. Knowing her, she'll release 4 or 5 books anyway, but she hasn't announced them yet. I couldn't actually think off the top of my head of any other releases I was excited about. Going through this list, this one caught my attention. The Love by the Book, that to me is very Romeo and Juliet. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but that's why it caught my attention as the title. And then I read the synopsis. It made like an interesting comment about it being a love story, but it's not romance. And I found this interesting. I'm not sure if it is actually romance or if it's about platonic love. Either way, I was hooked reading the blurb. And I said I'd put it on my TBR for the year. Thank you for sticking around. That is all 20 books I would like to read in 2026. I've had such a fun reading year in 2025 and I look forward to even more next year. Thank you for watching day 1 of Bookmas. If you like this video, here's another YouTube recommends for you. Keep watching for some more Bookmas content. I will see you next time.